So, it's been a week since Zenless Zone Zero launched. I went into this game without really caring about it at all, and just because I didn't really want another gacha game. And this is a gacha game that has the same grindy structures. It has, incentives to log in daily. Right, I didn't want another gacha game to play that sucked, 20 plus minutes of my day, even like forever. The gacha formula wears on you when you experience it through multiple games. But me, I absolutely love this game. I went in with zero expectations, so this video is basically going to be a mess of me trying to show and talk about different aspects of this game that I really like. Oh, hello. Apparently, this is one thing. This is, I think, a character like friendship trust mini quest thing. Yeah, I just unlocked these yesterday. Trust events. I mean, the closest thing I could say it is probably like Mass Effect. It gave me Mass Effect vibes. You can basically send people messages and get their friendship level increased, and get things like their wallpaper unlocked or special things in one of the game modes in the game. Hopefully I can illustrate the general components of this game and how it all comes together in a package that the most notable thing I would say I have for a takeaway is that this game is very much its own thing. It is Zenless Zone Zero. It does not feel like, oh, it's Genshin, but it doesn't have overworld, or it's Star Rail, but it's not turn-based. It's none of those. It feels like Zenless. It feels like it has its own identity, and that's a really, really good thing. This is the first gacha game that I actively recommend to my friends who I would not recommend Genshin or Star Rail to them because of the gacha BS, is my simple way of describing it. Games are expensive things to create, right? And that's why they have to have, monetization systems in some form or another, right? This is a gacha game. You can waste egregious amounts of money in it. You definitely should not do these. Oh, and by the way, I have not spent any money in the game so far. I don't know. I was originally planning to just make a video like I made for Wuthering Waves, basically going, this is another gacha game. It can be a decent game underneath it, but you probably shouldn't gamble in it. But instead, I'm making this video because I love this game. This game does such a good job at being a really, really good game underneath the gacha structure. The gacha is just what justifies its existence, and it does a good job at being really fun without, having to care that much about, do I need to spend money to get Shark Girl? I don't think this game is going to be for everyone by any stretch of the imagination. People have different preferences for the kinds of games they enjoy, right? But this is a game that costs you nothing to try, and as long as you go into it, with that little voice in the back of your head telling yourself, hey, don't spend money until I, know it's worthwhile for me to spend money. I think it's fine if you spend money in these games, but you should probably never spend hundreds or thousands of dollars. But enough about this being a gacha game. I want to make this video because of how much I like the game that isn't the gambling things. This game looks very nice to me when playing it in a way that I didn't feel when I had seen any footage of it before. The lighting system is very nice, and the overall quality of the character models is such that there's a number of NPCs I've seen that I'm like, yeah, that could easily be a playable character. It doesn't have that effect that I've seen in most other gachas where it's like the playable characters and non-playable characters look like alien creatures to each other. Yeah, overall, I really like this game visually. It shows with nice touches, like the fact that I can look into the video store there. Actually, there's a better way to show this. The arcade over here, probably. So the arcade manager, you can see her through the window right there. Right, being able to see into buildings like this and the lighting system makes it, again, feel just nicer. I really, really like that, right? It's one of those things that if it didn't have that, I wouldn't probably notice it consciously. It's just a nice touch. And I feel like this game has lots of really minor nice touches like that. Overall, and it all comes together visually in a way that I would just describe as a beauty in motion kind of way. The expressiveness of the animations, the overall style, how it looks in motion, and that's, a lot because it's a video game. Oh, this is a good example of one of the ways that dialogue happens in this game. One is this really cool comic book progression style thing that I greatly enjoy. It's probably my favorite one of just like, you know, clicking through, reading the events of the story unfold. And then this one is like your more typical, you know, characters are talking, but it's presented in a way that's nice and, you know, it's usually just a bit more understated, but has more animation to it. The third way that the game does dialogue, voice dialogue, is through the TV minigame. It's not even a minigame, it's more just like a different interface for in-between moments of the game. I actually quite like the TV minigame as far as like a generic interface template for them to do puzzles, some basic like exploratory stuff with that has that branches between story moments as well as combat moments. And they oftentimes have, you know, dialogue happening during these little bits. I actually like it, so I don't know. People are complaining about it, but so if you don't like the TV minigames, let me know why you don't like it. Because all I've seen is people just be like, I don't like it. By the way, there's two main characters. I chose the female main character, Belle. And there is another one, her brother, named Wise, so you can choose, you know, which one you walk around the world with. Let's see, are you in here, sir? No, you're not. Where are you hiding? Where is Wise? Where is my brother? I assume you're in here. Yes, hello. You're staring at the wall. Yeah, look, it's Wise. But yeah, both of these characters have dialogue. Like, it doesn't really matter which one you choose to play as, because it's just the difference is, you know, who you run around with, as far as I understand. They're both actual real characters in the game, not just like, you know, self-projections of the player. Crazy idea, that. Good writing. Also, there's a pupper, and his tail wags. Look at its tail wag. This pupper gives you scratch-off tickets daily, and if you get the 3 puppers, you get some wishing resources. Dailies, by the way, in this game are very easy. It's log in, try coffee, check in with the scratch card, that was what I just showed, and then open the video store for business, which is basically just talk to your one dude. It takes like 2 seconds. It'll take you a little bit longer to use your daily recharging material, your battery charge. But they also have this really clever implementation here, which I really like this system. So basically once per day you can get some coffee. So you can't do it. I can't drink any more coffee today because I already did. But it gives you 60 of the battery charge. This is sneakily good design as far as a mechanic that gives you flexibility for like not punishing the player at logging in at different times of the day. Because that's a problem I've had with other gacha games, wherein you'll log in, you know, at one time of the day, play the game a whole bunch, but then the next day you log in the morning instead of in the evening because it's the weekend or whatever, and that's when you had time to play, and you don't have any of your like charge to be able to actually farm for anything, and you end up just wasting some resources because you couldn't play that day by the time it recharged, right? This coffee shop thing giving you a little bit of extra charge when you need it, when you log in, is a really good way of making sure you can get something every day when you log in, regardless of when you log in. But you also get little bonuses, so, you know, you can see, and these I think are randomized. Basically just get extra bonuses for, you know, level up materials for different things. Overall, I don't think I finished talking about the story. Overall, I like the story. It hasn't been like, oh my god, this story has pulled me and it's like riveting, the most action-packed. No, like, no. It's literally a story of, you know, 2 dorks try to make a living in urban post-apocalyptic world of new era do. And they'd make that living by running a video store, which is just a front for their crime business. Well, okay, it's a crime business, but it's like casually illegal. You even get to interact with cops who are just like, we're just gonna ignore that you're doing illegal things. And see, it's realistic. This terminal here is one of the main ways you interface with starting different story quests as well as exploration things and combat commissions. Combat commissions just take you straight into combat and usually deal with fighting some harder enemies, and then exploration things usually have some combat in them, but deal more with doing something in the TV interface with some kind of gimmick to them. Like I don't think the balance is necessarily perfect for some of them, but overall, like, they're just like different kind. Like, this is a puzzle one. This is just an investigation that has like, and they do like, they have different tags because they do different things. That's my point with it, like being an interface for things and not actually an individual mechanic unto itself. It's weird. again, it's like a flow breaker thing. You do different things within the context of them. The most notable thing I could actually probably summarize with my feelings of the story so far, and like my general enjoyment of it, is that there's a skip button in this game, and I have felt zero desire to press the skip button. So take that for what you will. Well, as a side note, I'm not gonna talk about this that much, but I really like the sound design and general music of the game. I think it's a very much a strong point. Suppose I should probably talk about the combat. Where do I even begin with the combat? Let's just go into like free training here or something. I really like the combat in this game. So it's of course a real-time action combat thing. The most notable thing I like about the combat is I really like, so when enemies attack you, they do that, and you can switch your character and then do a basic attack to do a counter attack on them, and that's basically the parry system in this game. You can also do dodge parries. Right, you can do that. Either one is like kind of just depends on your preference for how you play the game. I find the switch parries to be very satisfying, and they have fun animations like that one. This free play mode, by the way, does have different enemies you can spawn. Let's see. This is something like, why is this not in insert other Hoyoverse game here? Like, man, I really like the combat in Genshin, and like, come on, just add this in Genshin so I have somewhere I can go to like test things in a neutral. Like I can literally just make the enemy invulnerable. I can disable whether it even has the ability to get stunned. I can set the enemy level. I can only spawn one enemy at a time, I think. So it could be improved a little bit, but I can set my character's energy to be unlimited or not, so I can see like how the energy generation system works, different abilities that trigger in different ways. And yeah, the switch parries, I don't know what the actual in-game term for them is, but I'm just calling them switch parries, are highly satisfying to me. And then when you break poise on enemies, you get these chain attacks going on, and then you can have assist abilities too. And you saw my character there was able to teleport straight to the enemy. I think depends within range, and it kind of auto targets. But this game feels exceedingly good in combat to me. And there is a little bit of an element system, by the way, right there. So when you do enough of a certain element type damage, different effects happen. So there's shock, which stuns an enemy for a little bit, and then there was my fire character, which can trigger burn, which does a little bit of damage over time. Chain attacks, by the way, incredibly satisfying. Like, it's a really, really, really smart way of implementing a quick time event. I just realized my audio might be a little bit loud because the combat is loud in this game. I should lower the volume. Ow. Look at the animation. I love the animation in this game. They're really fantastic. It's a beauty in motion game. So, anywho's, right, I'm not going to discuss every little nuance of character kits here. I just want to talk about generalized things with the combat, but like, that is so satisfying to me. It certainly doesn't have the reaction system that Genshin has, so I don't know if it's going to hold my interest in the very long term, at least in the sense that, like, you know, how Genshin is very, very interesting to think about its mechanics and like how the nuance of how characters interact with each other. But there is a good level of layers of interaction here, and like elements actually do something in this game, other than unlike certain other gacha game that released recently. This character, you can see she's not doing any fire. She's a fire character, not doing any fire damage on her attacks until let's see. Oh, hello. Until let's see if I can. There we go. All right. The only difference there is I was timing my inputs correctly for her, and that's the difference maker between doing fire damage or not. And then she also gets a set amount of like just automatic fire damage guaranteed after you use her special skill or if you use the alt. Character's ultimates, by the way, is shared between the whole team. That's the points in the top left corner. So me choosing to use Soldier 11's ult is me choosing not to use Grace's ult, right? The little energy bar that's glowing underneath character's health bar is for their special skill, the E ability. Which of course, again, just does different effects depending on what the character's kit is. And yeah, overall, I think you kind of get the point. You got this mix of like quick time events with the combat, with chain attacks and parrying abilities. and it overall plays in a really fast-paced, fluid way that forces you to pay attention to what the enemies are doing. If I were to critique it a little bit, is that the enemies themselves, like what they're doing, tends to be a little bit samey. But there's been enough enemy variety that it's not really that much of a complaint for me right now. I overall really love the combat of this game. I appreciate that you can't die. I didn't even know you couldn't die in the training mode here. That's a good thing, since it's just meant to be training mode. And you can very quickly go between these little quick time events here, and yeah, I don't know. I adore the combat of this game. It's really well done. Also, look how fast I can swap characters.
I'm here.
Crazy idea. No ping check. Oh, I should mention, I started playing this game actually on my phone first, before even bothering installing on my computer. I prefer playing the game on PC, both visually and because, you know, I can have more precise level of inputs. But for a real-time, like, 3D action game, this game plays really well. The combat of this game plays exceedingly well on mobile. You can still have, you know, fumbled inputs, like fat fingering the buttons that are collected together. But the nuance of the ways that characters automatically move, such as, you know, doing switch assist there, jumping to enemies, really mitigates some mobile issues that I've had, like when playing Genshin on mobile, that this game just does not have. And that's something that I think is worth mentioning, because on a design level, trying to make a combat system that feels good and has elements to it that are enjoyable on multiple platforms is impressive to me. Like, it's not easy if you know, to do that. Okay, I'm gonna turn the sound back up here and stop yapping for a second. Make the enemy be vulnerable. Oh, I don't get my health back though. Uh-oh. Well, it's fine. I will take damage against him. Never. Not all attacks, as you can see, are parryable. Oh my god. Dude's level 70, so it's a bit tanky. I think level 70 is probably the max level that enemies can be.
Every effort counts.
Max character level is level 60, by the way. So, ow.
Eyes on me. Here I come.
Bam. Oh. Yeah, you can. That was a perfect dodge, by the way. You can sometimes trigger special things with perfect dodges. I love the parry system.
Target confirmed.
Oh yeah, you get some. You see the 150% damage bonus there. You do more damage when enemies like shield is broken or their poise is broken. I don't remember exactly what the game calls it. Alright, I think that's enough of that. There is one thing with the combat that this mode does not let you see. These little creatures, which are like pet creatures that follow you around in combat that do minor additional effects. Right now, they don't feel important enough for me to bother showing you much of, but basically, like you can see, this one does some energy generation, and then they have special additional things, like if it's paired with certain characters types, then you can get even more energy generation. They also have chain attacks, which is, you know, when I was chaining the different characters together, and they can be part of that whole chain, which is cool. This is also where you can get some amount of healing in the game. There are no healer characters in the game right now. There's defensive units, there's like shielder units, but no healers, which is a notable aspect to the combat, which should tell you like how some of it is meant to be designed. But you can get a little bit of HP from things like this thing. And the way you acquire these, by the way, is through the gacha. Notably, though, you cannot spend money to get these. And there's probably some insane people that think that's a bad thing, that you can't, you know, go and spend $1,000 to get all the pet creatures that you want. I think it's a very good thing, because it means that they're not designing these to make money. They're designing these for what they do on a gameplay level. It's just a game design thing. So I actually really like them, especially in conjunction with the fact that this game has 3 character teams. It shouldn't be as hard, theoretically, to like pull for characters for a full team. That might also mean they restrict character designs to like be towards wanting you to pull for more characters. I don't know. That's something that remains to be seen. From what I've seen, all characters, a lot of characters' kits, they get, you know, very significant damage increases, or downright require this to be triggered by, like, you know, having the same element character with them or same faction. In Soldier 11's case, the Oboe Squad or Fire Element character. So I was playing her with this lady who is a Fire character, so that Soldier 11 got more damage. But then Grace's ability here, I was not playing her with anyone, so her bonus ability, that wasn't being triggered right. So Grace was doing worse than she could in other teams. Like, to unlock this character's full potential, right, I would want to trigger that. That I could see potentially limiting like the team compositions that you could use different characters in down the line. But the game is too new, like there's too few characters in the game right now to know how much of an issue that is. But the fact that there's the flexibility in it, like, you know, she just needs to be paired with a electric character. Like, you don't have to pull for the different characters that are in her same faction, like this dude or whatever. You don't have to play these two together. Like, there's enough flexibility with it. I think it's fine. My main critique, honestly, for like character kits would be kind of the typical gacha issue of like, it's definitely not very easy to just go into the screen and be like, what is the most important thing that Lucy does, right? She's a support character who like bats her gremlins around. What do I care about the most on her? Have fun. right. It's a bit convoluted, but anywho's, I like most of the characters in this game so far. They all play interestingly. I think it's worth. Let me show you this dude real quick, actually. So Ben here, he's fantastic. The notable thing I wanted to show with Ben is he's a big boy because he's a bear. Like and he moves slow because he's a bear, but he has abilities that make him move a little bit more. But they did a very good job of making like his abilities feel like they have weight, right? Yeah, I don't know. Like, this dude's fantastic. He's a defensive shielding unit. I don't know how much potential this game has to you know meme builds to like make him a defensive unit, be a DPS or something. Early game, I could say but for sure, early game you could definitely do it. You could just make him womp through enemies if you want to do it, and he is one of the free characters in the game, which is cool. Also, he's the one in charge of finances for a construction company, which obviously makes sense. Oh, actually, wait, there's one more thing to show this character that I think is a cool idea. We have to go to the demo for this character here. So this character has some additional special abilities when she is used with Ben, the bear character. I believe you have to do her special, and then after you do her special, yeah, you can see she jumps on the bear's pillar. He shows up and jumps on the bear's pillar, and then you get some bonus, I think, impact stun damage. This character also has a different ultimate based on if Ben is with her. So yeah, she doesn't do that really fun jump up move without Ben. I don't know. I think it's a really fun, simple pairing that they didn't have to do. I don't think it makes or break this character. I hope they do more like minor little things of like, particularly if it's pairing 5-star characters with free 4-stars. All right, here's her ult. So the bear does not show up. Like, that ultimate is different without the bear. And I don't know. It's a cool idea, I think. I'd say most of the characters in this game thus far have cool ideas as far as the ways you use them. But I don't really have a good way to evaluate, the strengths of one or the other character. One thing I appreciate, there is an option to disable combat damage. So, if you're like me and you don't actually care about like the numbers showing up constantly, it's good that it has the option. Also, there's a casual mode for the story if you want. Challenge mode on the story has not been that difficult so far for me. But it's good that they have different difficulty options, I think, for accessibility purposes. I could probably go far more in depth about the combat, but it's honestly something that I think doesn't really make sense until you play it yourself. I much prefer playing the combat in this game versus watching it. There are different areas in the game. So this is all there really is for overworld in the game. It's just like small little areas of open exploration, like in this city area versus construction area versus the 6th Street area. They're all relatively condensed in nature. This one's, I think, the largest one. And you can see there's a quest over here there that I got. There is a time progression system, by the way. So, there will be different characters, different people around at different times, at different points in the game. So you can see right now it is morning, there's afternoon, evening, and midnight. When you do things like scheduling quests with people, like Nicole here, I could send her a message and they would ask you when you want to schedule them. It's a cute little thing that you know, I don't know. The scheduling system makes sense when they have layers of interaction like that, right? I don't know. I like it, even if it doesn't make that much of a difference. Also, I really appreciate that there's a walkway over the road here, because if you don't do the walkway over the road, you can interface with this to be able to loading screen your way through. But, you know, instead you can just walk. I like that. It's a nice touch. So yeah, different quests around at different times of the day. And so there is some incentivization to like do a quest somewhere, and then that progresses the time, and then you can look around again and see if there's more stuff to do. I've also seen instances of, oh, actually, she's right here. Here's the lady that's on banner currently. That's Ellen. That is this lady. So you can, you know, talk to her, and it's not voiced. But I don't know if their intention is just to do that, like anytime they have a banner running, they're just going to randomly put the character around. All in all, I don't know, a really nice touch that the characters, you know, just fit in notably. Like, she does not look out of place. Just as an example of how dang good the NPCs look. Look at this lady, Orchidea. Like, dang, look at her dress. She's just fantastic looking. Like, the flower earrings and flowers in her hair. Like, dang. Fantastic NPC designs. There's really nice variety. You can see some repetition, to be clear. But like, they're all wearing different outfits and they all seem high quality. They all seem like they're part of the same world. It's not obvious that I'm gushing over this game at some parts. Like, it's so well refined and like not what I'm used to for most gacha games. And it's a really, really big contrast from my last gacha game experience, Wuthering Waves, which, you know, like, Wuthering Waves it has strong points to it. But suffice to say, I think it's not the highest quality. It does not have the same polish and that Zenless has, right? And they're very different games, right? If you're looking for an open world exploration game, Zenless is not it, right? This one is a much more cohesive, much more enjoyable package for me. I'm playing both of the games still, but it's far more likely I will stop playing Wuthering Waves before I stop playing Zenless Zone Zero, and it's because of this quality. Like, this game has its own identity. Wuthering Waves most of the time just feels like it's trying to be Genshin, but slightly different. This game is Zenless. Alright, last thing I want to show, let's go to this outpost here. So this area is basically for the different endgame combat modes. But basically you have Hollow Zero, you have Shiyu Defense, Notorious Hunt, and which I've seen some references that this is supposedly going to have multiplayer, but there's no actual in-game reference to that, so weird. I hope the game has, like, this game has a lot of potential, I feel like, for, like, raid boss style multiplayer, and so does Genshin, and I hope they do something with it. And then there's Cleanup here. Some of this isn't necessarily endgame, like, Cleanup is actually just, I think, the equivalent of Genshin artifact farming. Oh, I didn't even talk about, frick. Man, there's so many things to talk about this game. And notably, right, you have 2-piece bonuses, 4-piece bonuses, but you have 6 slots. And different pieces, so I think, like, this piece I believe is always HP main stat, this is always attack main stat, this I think is always defense main stat, and then you have different main stats for these 3 pieces. You can do a 4-piece bonus and a 2-piece bonus. And that means you can do something like a 4-piece of a relevant set, and then you can do 2-piece of another relevant set. So you could do 4-piece of your ice damage set, and then 2-piece of your crit rate set. Or always do 2-piece energy regeneration, right? There's a more diverse set of ways to get stats in this game, I would say, from just set bonuses and combining them in different ways, I think is really good. The only downside compared to Genshin is, like, it doesn't have, you know, off pieces, but I'd basically consider this not that much different from Genshin having off pieces, because you can also kind of treat it as if, like, you know, you have 2 off pieces, right? You could forgo the 2-piece set bonus and just have 2 off pieces if your 2 off pieces are good enough. I'm not in the endgame farming point. That's just my vibe based on my knowledge of Genshin and Star Rail's equipment system. I think it's better. It's hard for me to even, like, criticize this game because I have such a positive first impression of it. The only thing I can really criticize is kind of the things I passively mentioned and, like, concerns about the future of the game when it comes to, like, gacha power creep or whatever, right? Like, I have no idea how the long-term aspect of this game is going to look, but anyways, let's go in the music store here. So the music store is basically, you can, it's like the strongbox equivalent in Genshin, where you can choose one of the equipment sets with whatever bonus, and get a bunch of those specific ones with these tuner things, I think they're called. there's enough different ways to guarantee getting the sets you need, basically. I think it's not going to be that hard and like to get the stats you need for a character to feel good as you progress into like towards the end game, where you need to like get some of these higher DPS stats in order to like clear some of the harder content, is my guess. Like I think people should have an easier time building characters in this game than Genshin, but I very much could be wrong. It's pretty early on, right? May as well do a ×10 on this. And you can see, wow, I got 3 4-stars, right? And it tells you the slot number, so you know if it has stats you might want. Oh, energy regen main stat. Good to know. That exists. Alright, back to the outpost. Shield defense here is the equivalent of like Spiral Abyss in Genshin. It's your endgame combat mode that's going to require multiple teams. I'm not that interested in showing that. What I actually want to show is Hollow Zero. There seems to be different gimmicks going on between these two, or between the different options here. I obviously only have this Zone 1, Zone 2 unlocked. Construction Ruins, when I did it before, was more of a linear experience. This one was more of a choose your way experience, kind of. Let me go into it. So you have, you know, different buffs happening here. It's your roguelite mode, basically. It's like your simulated universe, except for, as far as I'm aware, you don't farm any resources in it. I really like this mode so far. And what you basically do is you select up to the 6 characters. I only have the 4 for now. Yeah, accept the offer. Why not? And you have debuff things that you can have inflicted on you. This guy was giving me debuff effects in exchange for a benefit. I hate this one, where it's formatted in ways. This is not like a puzzle. This is just, it's giving me choices to go to different things. And you might say, well, that just means you go to everything, right? Well, no, because you can see I got 30 pressure there. When you get to 100 pressure, that's when you get one of these debuffs. And if you get to maximum debuffs, the enemy has like the final boss enemy at the end has a really big buff. You can do that on purpose. I actually did that for this level to try to fight a harder enemy. You see the phone call icon here then gives you one of the characters that you had selected. So it's a way to like randomly give you the characters other than the leader character you selected when you first launched into it. These tiles right here are enemies. The green tiles, as you might expect, are health. And there's all kinds of different effects. You can get the golden coins are for money, and then you can use the money in the shop. So, yeah. And after every combat section, you do get more buffs, of course, and whatnot. And you can get buffs through other sources, not just combat. And burn and wipeout. I really like that wipeout screen, by the way. Oftentimes results in some nice like screens of like enemies dying as your character's making a cool pose. It's nice. It's got a nice like flavor to it, right? It's very much a Zenless thing. I like it. Boss attacks can deal critical damage. Oh yeah. Pancake. Easy. I do wish I could unlock some of the higher difficulties of this mode sooner. They're doing... Oh, there's a thing that gets rid of one of your debuff things, right? But yeah, like... I don't know. The TV mode, right, is just this interrupter, exploratory thing to let you have some amount of like choice and interactivity in between other things going on. I don't think the TV thing is the reason to play this game or anything. I just don't think it's a problem in any way, and I think it's quite well designed. At the end of the floor, you have a harder enemy. It's not a health bar in the top right, but you can still just watch the health bar elsewhere. This dude has a big arch shield, but it's not obvious with his, like, his armor, which eventually you break, like I did there.
Good.
Smack. It'd be nice if I could... Oh, there we go. Nice.
Target acquired.
It would be nice if I could also time my attacks properly to get more burn damage going on, but it's fine. Hey, my drilly boy. That's his special effect is just he gets in the thing and then does some attacks. Pancake. Bam. Nice explosion. And it gives you a rating for that fight. And the rating matters for this area because in between the floors there's a rest area, which you need S rank to be able to unlock this gate for some additional rewards. Pancake. Oh, did the pancake kill him? I think it did. Let's go. Alright, I've kind of rushed to the end of Hollow Zero here. Try to trigger shock on him. Nice. So we can trigger burn maybe. We can trigger burn and shock. Well, any two elements together triggered is disorder, which I don't know exactly how it works, but it's I think some bonus damage. So it's a good thing, I say. Ah, lasers. Baseball thing.
Target confirmed.
There we go. A little scuffed, but I did it. And you can see it gave me some progress in the one-time levels. So yeah, overall, Hollow Zero is probably my favorite so far. But I don't dislike like any of the combat modes particularly. Even the time-based, trial of Shield defense, I suspect I will enjoy. I just really like this game so far. There's problems like the UI menus within different menus, 500 different currencies to do with different things. It's got the gacha structure. It's got incentivization to log in, but it's all balanced in a way that I think feels really just good. I enjoy logging into this game right now, and I log into this game because I want to play it, right? Not because I need to log in to grind my characters. Will I have that feeling soon? Potentially, I imagine, like after I finish the meat of like story progression content, right? And like right now I need to like reach level 34. I am at level 32 to be able to continue the main story quests, but there's a lot of side content I haven't done yet, so I don't really consider that much of a problem. But there is structures in the game though to get you to log in on a per day basis, of course. And I have concerns about the long-term gacha issues, potential for power creep, whatever. But I don't know, it's really hard to complain when I'm having such a fun time just playing the game right now, having not spent a single dime. This is one of those things, like, it's a good enough experience to me. It's like, it almost feels like a crime that this is free. But of course it's not free. It was like paid for by the people that have, wasted more money than they should have. It being a gacha game is still the #1 reason not to play it, by far. If you think you're predispositioned to having, like gambling mechanisms, potentially manipulating your psychology into making very bad decisions for your life, stay away, I guess, right? How good of a game this is underneath the gacha justifies the gacha system. And I can't express enough how much I feel that Zenless has its own identity. It's such a strong aspect of this is its own game to me. It's not trying to be something else, it's trying to be itself. And I don't know, it makes it feel very fresh to me. I imagine if, maybe I had played Persona games or whatever, maybe it would feel like it's just ripping on Persona too much or something. I don't know, right? I really like this game. I think if there's anything that you've seen of it that's interests you, it's worth trying. But let me know in the comments your thoughts and feelings about Zenless. I by no means do I think it's convenient for everyone. Thanks for watching. I gotta go edit this rambly mess of a video into something coherent. Feel free to subscribe.